Hello everyone and welcome back to another edition of West Ham Fan TV's Midweek Musings, the show where we pick you three questions, three subjects, and you have your say and I have my say. Now, it's been a while since me and you sat here together shooting the shit, and I'm going to bring this series back from now on. It's been I've been a little bit busy. I've been working on a few things behind the scenes at West Ham Fan TV, but from now on, I'm going to be bringing this Midweek Musings to you every week. I'm going to Florida next week, so I'm going to be doing them from there. I'm also bringing in a new series called Over Land and Sea, and my first subject is going to be in Florida, where I'm going to go and see the, I keep on saying the Toronto Hammers, the Tampa Bay Hammers, to see how they watch games, where they watch them, the backstory behind how they formed and all that sort of stuff. And that's a series that I want to keep on going. I want to see different fan groups. Now, I might not be able to travel over to your country, but you can send me some footage, and if you come over here, we can have an interview here. Sometimes I might be able to come over to the country, who knows? But I will be going to Florida and I will be seeing the Tampa Bay Hammers, and we will be starting that series from there. Without further ado, let's get into this midweek musings. I picked you three questions. It's the show that I pick you three questions, three subjects more or less, more than questions. I have my say and you have your say. So let's get straight into it. Number one. After the Declan Rice contract was leaked, do you think it's part and parcel of football, or should it be treated with the same confidentiality that everyone else in this country gets? Now, if you're an employee of a company, it's pretty much standard that people don't tell people what you earn. Now, because this is football, should it be different? No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be leaked. I mean, Declan Rice himself is under a lot of pressure because of obviously the stuff that's going on with England and Ireland at the moment and the decisions he's got made there. I think it's a pretty poor decision by West Ham, and you know what, after the summer and after things have been going on and on and on, I thought part of this had finished at West Ham, but obviously not. I suppose David Sullivan is meant to have leaked it. I'll speak about the website in a minute that leaked it. I suppose once a circus, always a circus. Unfortunately, Mark Noble, who said it wasn't a circus anymore, and that stuff shouldn't be getting leaked. He's a young kid. He's rejected the contract, and it's going to end up costing us in the long run. Now, as for the person that leaked the story, it was Claret and Hugh, obviously, who had every, you could have a guess at these things and things like that, but this had every single last detail of the contract in it. Now, in itself, I think that's pretty poor. See, the thing is with Claret and Hugh, as with other websites, but they're the main ones, they get leaked information in exchange for positivity spin, unfortunately. That's why you'll always hear them saying how much they love the stadium, how much the owners are loved and all this sort of stuff. They do that because the owners will feed them stories like this to get out into the public domain as exclusives, and they sort of sell their souls in a little bit of a way to turn around and say, yeah, we was the ones to break that. Now, I've got no problem with the way they run their website. That's up to them, but they obviously do try and sway people's opinions. We are an opinion site. We are a site to give you a say and an opinion, and we'll publish it no matter what it is, whether it's positive, negative, or indifferent towards the club. Whereas Claret and Hugh, they want to try and feed you bullshit. That's basically what it is. And the site is run by a man that hasn't been to West Ham for 20 odd years, and another man that is a journalist and that will sell anyone down the river to get a story. My feelings on them are quite clear. It was discussed on Hammers Chat, and I think the guys over there are too polite to say these sort of things, but not my cup of tea, Hammers Chat. Hammers Chat. Not my cup of tea, Claret and Hugh, but I'll let you have your say. Talking of Hammers Chat, Gio Mackie, no, and it's embarrassing it was leaked. It means our own fans will now know what he is turning down, if he does, and it will cast judgment. Unnecessary and unfair pressure on Declan. I totally agree with you there, Gio. Slav says it should be treated as confidential. I'm sure there's laws in this country. Greg Hobbs, another blunder. Salaries shouldn't be leaked. In this day and age with social media, people jump on the bandwagon. Unfair to label Rice greedy. If it forces Rice to leave, which is the worst case scenario, it's going to piss fans off. They should be building bridges, not breaking them. And Bradley Bomber BTN, I think a player's earnings should be between the club and a player, not leaked to the fans. It only causes upset when not only with the fans, but must also cause dressing room rows, which is, yeah, it's quite true, yeah. So, no, it's not right that it got leaked. let's have the next subject. All right, I'm going to go to number 3 because number 2 is quite controversial. If you don't like politics in your football, please switch off after this question. Arnautovic went on international duty this week and admitted he was playing through injury, but should West Ham's medical staff have allowed him to go? Now, we pay him a lot of money, obviously. He belongs to us. But I think the pinnacle of any footballer's career should be to play for their country. I've always said that. It's something that gets a little bit missed nowadays because of, what's the word? Money? Greed? I don't know, something like that goes into football, and players are not as proud to play for their country as they used to be. Marco's a very proud Austrian. He's sort of a throwback to an old school footballer. He's got a bit of a swagger, a bit of an attitude about himself. He's the captain. Absolutely, he should go and play international football. If he's fit enough to play for West Ham, it's different if he was out for West Ham and then he went and played for Austria. But if he's playing for Austria, if he's playing for West Ham, then he should be allowed to go and play for Austria. Simple as that. Whether it was an injury or not, I think it's a bruised bone. There's nothing that you can do with it anyway. So, right, let's see. You guys have your say. Ian L80s. It's not just that we can not afford to play over him. This injury can cost him in later life. It's not careful, mate. End up like Andy, and we don't need that. So he's basically saying he could end up with a long-term injury and become injured all the time. He's 30 now, so he ain't got much of a career to look forward to. Matthew Santerre, it's not their decision and nor it should be. Good luck stopping any passionate international captain from playing for their country. Lisa Langley says no, basically. Gio Mackie, yes, we are playing him as well, so we can't stop him. If we rested him as well, then it's a different case. Playing for your country should be the pinnacle of a career, and he's a captain as well as to set an example to his teammates. Let him play competitive games only if it is right. Greg Hobbs says, I don't think you'll be able to stop Arnie from doing what he wants. The top 6 have a history for not letting players go on international duty. Then Saturday comes our starting. The question here is, can we afford to rest him? Jury's out on Hernandez. He's not done enough for me. At Bradley BTN, yes, because he played for us. It's his country at the end of the day, but maybe he might have to miss a couple of games to let his knee heal, as he is vital to us this season. We are much more dangerous with him in the team. No one else can do his job. And last but not least, Beat the Batek says, yes, we owe him a lot. If he feels fit, let him go out there. Now, as I said before, if you don't like politics in your football, please switch off now, because it was question number 2, but I'm doing it last, so you have a chance to not get involved in this. And I'm not going to get too involved in the politics. I'm just going to say that. Number 2, Mark Phillips has been suspended for marching this weekend. Is this fair? Now, I'm not going to get into the politics of this. It's something to do with the far right extremism and all this sort of stuff. I don't want to get involved in the politics of it all, whether it's right, whether it's wrong, and all that sort of stuff. But is it fair that he got suspended by West Ham? And I don't know. It's not. It's not fair at all. I think it's quite well documented that, like this week, that Mark Phillips, his sister, was involved in one of the London terror attacks of recent times, and apparently he was going to support her. Now, whether you want to support the cause or not support the cause, or think it's right, think it's wrong, that's completely up to you. I'm not going to sway your opinion either way. We all have our own opinions, and I'm not going to force mine upon you. But it is not fair that a man who is marching, and it is his democratic right as a citizen of this country to do and stand up for what he believes in or what he feels is right. Why would he be suspended by his workplace? I'm not too sure about that. He definitely should have been suspended. It's definitely not fair. Hopefully, with an inquiry, he'll get his job back anyway, because it will come out that he wasn't involved in any of the violence that was involved in the march. Now, I'm not going to go into the details of the march. I don't really know anything about the march. I'm just talking about the man, Mark Phillips. Is it fair that his job's on the line because of something he done outside of work? And I don't think it is. I don't think it is fair at all. And West Ham should hopefully get this one sorted out. Let's get into yours. There's quite a few of these. At Beck's Price, he's been suspended while they investigate his involvement. Considering some trouble did break out, I personally don't think West Ham are doing anything wrong. Okay. Slavomir, no, it's totally ridiculous. Bollocks. Okay. At Tom Down, no, biggest load of bollocks to happen at the club for a long time. At Mark Sherburn says, no, just viewed their Facebook page. First thing they state is no racism. And you can clearly see from the pics a number of different races, religion, faiths supporting the group. It's not a racist group in my opinion. It's just Antifa who want to cause issues. At Matthew Costa says, probably a tad harsh, but let's consider that the club have already been embarrassed by Tony Henry, so need to have seem to have no tolerance to racism. Also, let's not get it twisted. The FLA and the EDL is another guise. They have a liberty dragging football into their politics. The Premier League have already warned clubs that the FLA represent the far right and have demonstrated anti-Muslim agenda. Therefore, how can WHO allow their staff to publicly support them? Mark Phillips may not be a racist, but he marched with racists. Okay. At Rob's Kurt, totally unbelievable. People should be marching over this. John JD62 says, definitely not. Robert Goddard, give him his job back, I say. Gary Doe says, no. Pint of Jack says, yeah, when you work for a club, you're representing them. At Remy WHU, absolutely not fair. There is no evidence he was marching for racist reasons. I hope that he will get his job back. Alan WHU, Alan says, no. Iron Man's JP, would he have even made the news if he was with the rabid left? I don't know what that means. Considering his sister was a victim of the London Bridge terror attack and the DFLA are anti-extremist movements, I can understand his motive to march, which is also his right. They're only deemed far right because they aren't following a prescribed narrative. Dean88, no, not at all. The fans should stand and make their voices heard. At Batak Beta, yes, despite many vocal fan suggestions he is free to do it, he is employed by a football club with a worldwide appeal and has marched with a Nazi group who have identified as a problem by an anti-racism group. No matter his reasonings, unless he denounces this group, he should be sacked, simple as that. Police officers were attacked by the DFLA. Then he proceeded to claim that the group being far right was fake news, despite and his Islamophobic stance to hide behind technicalities to spread their hatred and extremism. And Johnny Brexit says, no, it's his democratic right. Okay, sorry for the fact that it's quite a touchy subject there. As I said, I don't want to get involved in the ins and outs of it. I don't know the politics of it. I don't really follow politics at all. But they are what you said. Thank you very much for joining us on this edition of West Ham Fan TV's Midweek Musings. We'll be back again next week with all the stuff from Florida this time. And have a great week. Looking forward to the Tottenham game. Go and check out all the stuff that's coming up towards that. One thing left to say, come on you Irons.